Thank you so much for coming to Daffodil Gardens this morning. Really appreciate it. My name is Joshua Gemerek, and I'm with Bay Family Housing, a division of Bay Aging. Bay Family Housing is the housing division for Bay Aging. A few months ago, Neil Barber was right up here. He's representing Housing Virginia, and Neil approached Bay Aging and Bay Family Housing and asked us if we'd be interested in co-sponsoring an educational event, a housing and transportation educational event. Of course, we were ecstatic. We were very interested in supporting in doing this. So it's come together today, and again, thank you so much for coming. I want to thank all the panelists for being here today, and we'll get into introductions soon. Before we do that, before we get into our packed agenda, I want to introduce somebody who has been an integral part of Bay Aging leadership over the past 3 years. Jimmie Carter here is on the Bay Aging Board of Directors, and he joined the board 3 years ago. He was our board chairman the last 2 years, continues to serve on that board of directors. So he's been a huge part of the leadership, and I wanted to introduce him, and he'd like to say a few words just to kick it off. So thank you.
Thanks, Josh. First off, let me say how I'm impressed with the turnout. You know, when you come to these types of meetings and you say, you know, how many people are going to be there, who's going to be there, this is really impressive because all of you've got busy schedules, and these types of issues are time-consuming, and I think we're all looking for those aha moments. The other day I had an aha moment. I was up at the Rural Health Conference in Charlottesville for 2 days. And the first speaker that got up said that he talked about investments in health and how they move the needle on healthcare. And he said, to really move the needle on healthcare, we really have to invest in education. He said, if we have an educational attainment in Northern Virginia for the whole state of Virginia, he talked about how dynamic the changes would be. And I think everybody in this room is working on social needs. And what we're beginning to realize is that to address social needs, we got to get out of silos. Health can't just look at health, health's got to look at education. Housing is important, one of those integral, important things to our societal needs. If people have got good housing, then probably they're going to have better health. Probably their kids are going to be more satisfied and have better education. So I'm impressed that all of you all have taken the time to come today. Josh has been an amazing proponent of housing for the Bay Aging side, and we appreciate all the good work that he's done. So all I want to do is just thank you for coming and say that this is something that's important to the Bay Aging. Bay Aging has its finger in lots of different pies, thanks to our CEO, Kathy Vesley. We do, as you know, we do everything from transportation to housing to in-home health care and lots of other things, Veterans Affairs. And so this just is one of our missions. We know that all of these issues are related and they all need to be working together in order to solve social problems. And I can't thank you enough for coming today and appreciate your attendance. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you. Well, Jimmie mentioned Kathy Vesley in the audience, and I wanted to give Kathy, our fearless leader, a chance to just greet everybody and say hello. Kathy Vesley, our CEO and president.
He's only letting me do this because I have laryngitis.
Josh and I are going
to. Anyway, thank you, Jimmie, for your welcoming remarks, and I could echo them, but I'd like to add to this group here, when we get with housers, it's hard to tell them anything they don't already know, but I will venture into one statistic that I heard not too long ago, and you likely know, but I think we can reiterate it here, and that was when HUD announced that the current number of very low income households that spend more than 1/2 of their income on rent, yet live in severely substandard housing, has increased more than 20% in a recent 2-year period. I also know, in working at Bay Aging Bay Transit, that we have an increasingly older aging population throughout the state. And of course, welcome to Gloucester. You're in Gloucester now, and here in the next 15 years, the percentage of those 60 and older is due to increase to about 40% of the population. That is a huge percentage. And aging folks, depending on the study, but some of the studies by AARP have indicated that up to 98% of those who are aging want to be able to remain in their home. And yet there's an increasing fear they can't. Part of it is the economy. You're not going to be able to afford to for various reasons. Part of it is accessibility, that either they won't be able to access the home or some of the features of the home. And then finally, if they can overcome those two hurdles, transportation. As they lose the keys, as they no longer safely drive, how are they going to access services and goods, including health care? For others, it is jobs. It is a number of aspects that we will talk about today and folks who are represented today. So I want to conclude by talking about housing is such a basic, fundamental need. It is so basic and fundamental that as I was thinking, how do you describe how basic and fundamental it is? And I went, oh, cavemen. You know, they called them cavemen. They didn't call them carmen. They didn't even call them food men. They called them cavemen. So I thought, well, that makes the point. And with that thought in mind, I'm just so pleased and delighted, like Jimmie, to see so many and such diversity here today. Because without groups like this who stay determined, who stay focused, I was very afraid that maybe the next conference that I get to address will be the Virginia Association of Identification of New Cave Dwelling Sites. So, don't want to be doing that, but thank you for allowing us to be with you today.
Thanks, Kathy, I appreciate it. We have such a diversified group today in the human service and the public service sectors. And we also want today to be a real give and take discussion. We encourage your questions. If you have questions for individuals here through the presentations, that would be great. So we really want to encourage you to ask questions. Maybe quickly though now, if we could go around the room and just have each person introduce themselves and what organization they're with, we can get a better feel of who's here and who you're representing. Could we start over here?
Sherry Stone, Lower Shelter.
Good morning, Ron Hostinsky, Middlesex County Public Schools.
Your name, Bay Family Housing.
Debbie Doherty, Community Clean Social Services.
Sue Armstrong, Hampton Newport News Community Services Board.
Frank Love, the County Administrator of Lancaster County.
Pat Frere, I'm the Director of Single Family Housing for Bay Aging.
James Buchanan, Department of Veterans Affairs.
Paul Osler with Essex Department of Social Services.
Russell Lifer with the Middle Peninsula and next season.
Good morning, David Valadez, Rappahannock Community College Workforce Development.
Russ Fordin of the Community Services Board and Fleet Management.
Cindy Brown, Community Services Board, Director of Facilities Management.
Thelma Hayden, Community Services Board, Residential Coordinator.
Carolyn Morris, Community Service Board, Case Manager.
Alta Bell, Community Service Board, Case Manager.
Over here.
Nadine Tatum, Gloucester Resource Council, and also the Middle Peninsula League of Voters.
Elizabeth Five, Stand Up Bank.
Vincent Smith, Bay Family Housing.
Willie Albert Matthews Community Foundation.
Angie Alley, Bay Family Housing.
Robin Jones, Bay Family Housing.
Marcia Dubois, Livable Communities Coordinator for the Virginia Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services.
Still Kathy.
Still. All right, thank you, everybody.